All right, guys, we're back here with grown men talking baseball cards. We've got Michael Double X the Beast is out tonight with the sickness, and Mike Baseball Collector is here with the sickness. So
I'm playing through it, man. I'm playing through it.
he's playing through it. He refuses to go on the 10-day DL.
That's right.
He's ready to roll. So thanks a lot, Mike, for joining me tonight.
You bet, Andy.
One of the first things I wanted to talk to you a little bit about is I wanted to ask you, like, what is your favorite thing about this YouTube sports card community?
So leave it with a nice, open, vague question to start.
Yes, that's the way we roll in here. Like I told Eric last week, no layups, all hard-hitting questions.
Golly. Well, first of all, it's really weird to be on this side of it. Usually I'm the guy doing the interviewing on Beyond Board. But favorite thing about the YouTube community, probably
several things.
The generosity is insane.
Absolutely.
That's been true for a really long time. It's manifested itself in different ways that I've seen over the last few years. And then stories that I hear from guys that are kind of 10 years ago in the YouTube community and stuff they used to do. It all echoes to now. I mean, I think about how many cool things people have just literally sent me, and I've sent out some stuff. I'm not a big care package giver because all my stuff is really PC. I don't have a whole lot of I don't open a box and just go, well, I don't need the Marlins or whatever. And,
right.
So I feel bad about that sometimes, but I try to give away as much stuff as I can. And just the generosity that I see is, and I just got a care package yesterday from Dustin Bellinger.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that video.
So, and it's amazing how, I don't know about you, but for me, I don't have buddies that collect cards. And
it's rare.
It is, at least that live close to you. Now Dave's lived midlife card crisis. He doesn't live too far away, and he comes over sometimes. I've had some other guys over to the house. Jim, Beantown 62, and Sports Card Fam, used to be Sports Card Kid, Sports Card Dad, whatever.
Yeah, you guys went to the Rangers Fan Fest, right?
We did, but in reality, those are few and far between. That's not a everyday thing. And I feel like with YouTube, I can connect with my cardboard brothers every day. And I talk to guys. I talk to a YouTuber on the phone every day. Whether it's Ray from Philly or Mike O or Garrett. I talk to Garrett Card Cutter every day, multiple times. Eric, those back pages. Snoop and Nate, Tops 85 401, John, JMVP. I mean, just so many guys that I would never have known without this community. And they're just all great guys. I mean, I haven't met a single jerk that's on YouTube.
Well, there's some out there. I mean, but that's anywhere, right?
Yeah. So I don't know if that answered your question, but that's
a good answer. I mean, one of the things I know, me personally, like, I probably have seen tons of these guys at the shows before and never probably put like two and two together. And I've talked to probably several of these guys on like message boards throughout the years. But like, I think this summer at the National, it's going to bring like a whole different level to the whole experience. Just like, because you see all these guys like every day here on YouTube. So I think it's almost like you do know them.
Yeah, absolutely. I've met a bunch of them already and been blessed to do that at the National. And this year is going to be just off the hook. It's going to be 3 times as big as it was last year. And in terms of, I think, just guys being at the show and knowing who's going to be at the show. And I think a lot more guys show their face on camera now than used to.
Okay.
That makes it easier to, if you're walking down an aisle and you go, hey, I know that guy. And you can introduce yourself and say hi.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's gonna. I think you're right. I think that's gonna make it a totally like new experience for me, anyways. And yeah, I think I'm really looking forward to that. The next thing I want to talk about.
To be there.
What's that?
What day days are you going to be there at the National?
I'm not sure yet. Probably I always like to get there for Wednesday, and typically I'm at least there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But I may stay longer this time.
Okay. I'll be there Wednesday through Saturday. I leave Saturday night, so I'll be there most of the day Saturday.
Okay, yeah, and I may stay through Saturday. I've actually done it before where I was there like all 5 days. And
Wow, it seems a lot.
it's exhausting. I mean, you know how your feet feel after a couple of days there.
Yes, indeed.
So this kind of leads into one of the next things I was wanting to talk about, and this has to do with you and Eric. You guys have been doing, like, you've kind of started this series where you're talking about things to expect at the National and stuff like that. So what would you like people that watch these videos, like, what should they expect to learn, and what would you like them to get from it?
Good question. Look, I'm no expert on everything about the National, and neither is Eric, and he would freely admit that. But between the two of us, we've been in this hobby for a really long time, and let us just give you some experience. Look, we're not going to be right on it. We're not trying to say that we are end all be all about the National, but just try to take out something that, oh man, I hadn't thought about that before, or that's a great idea, but maybe it could even be better with X. It's just giving people food for thought as they're getting ready. Especially, there are so many guys going for the first time. And I was talking to Joey from Joey Brings It. I'm doing a lot of channel dropping right now, but hold on, coughing. So Joey was talking to me. He's like, hey, what do we do? He was asking me all these questions. I'm like, that's what started the idea of talking to Eric, going, hey, dude, we could do a series, and we need to start now, even though it's 6 months away, because guys are starting to make airline plans, ticket plans, hotel stuff. And what days are good to go? So that was kind of the first episode. As we get closer, it'll be more talking about, we'll do different segments on autographs, how to get autographs and what that looks like. And there's a lot of guys that have been there and know that. That's really not who our target audience is. Although it doesn't matter how many times you go, it doesn't hurt to get reminded of, oh man, I forgot about that. Or where to go to get good deals, what vendors are really good depending on different things that you're looking for. So how does the PSA submissions, SGC, Beckett, how does all that work? And so there's going to be several episodes, and as we get closer, they'll become more relevant. This first one was just, hey, if you're planning your trip, here's kind of some 30,000 foot view things you need to think about before you go. That's all.
I think one of my biggest things that I would say to people, if you've never been there before, wear comfortable shoes.
For sure.
Because it is, I mean, it's a long day, and especially if you get in early and you stay the entire time. Wow. I mean, at the end of the day, man, it's brutal.
Yeah. And if you do it 2, 3, 4 days, you're going to be hurting. Would you agree with this piece of advice that I think both Eric and I agreed on? Going for one day, although fine if that's all you can do, but it's hard to go and get everything in one day, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you won't even be able to see everything. And even after, I'll still, on the third or fourth day, as I'm going around the tables for probably the fourth or fifth time, I'm still seeing stuff that I didn't see the first time.
Right. And not that if they can only go one day, they shouldn't go. You absolutely should. That's not what I'm saying. Just understand that you're going to limit yourself on what you're going to be exposed to, what you're going to be able to see, who you're going to be able to talk to and meet, because it's only if there's a finite amount of time in one day. And so just understand that, I guess.
Right. And kind of to your point earlier, I think with the YouTube community growing like it has, I think that I expect anyway this year for a lot more people to be socializing, doing, hanging out and stuff like that. So it'll kind of take away a little bit from, actually looking at the card. So you're probably going to need a little more time.
How do you feel about that?
I can't really say yet, because most of the time that I've went prior to this, I was basically just, head down, had cards I was looking for. And I mean, I really wasn't there to socialize with people, but this year it'll absolutely be different. And I think you guys did. You talked about that a little bit the first episode you did, right?
A little bit. And it's this fine line, right? That, I mean, the Nationals once a year. It's a finite period of time. You're going to see stuff. There's stuff there that you can't, that you just don't see all in one place at one time. And not that you can't get a box of cards anytime you want or whatever, or any single pretty much, but it's a unique experience that I know a lot of guys talk about. Man, I just go to meet people and hang out and all that. I go to look at cards. I'm going to find stuff that I want to add to my collection. And the side benefit is getting to hang out with people. But you can do both is what my point is. Like Andrew, Enough Said Cards, he and I met last year at the National. Had not ever met. In fact, I'm the only guy that's ever gotten him on video with his face on camera.
Yeah.
And so if you need to see what Andrew looks like, go watch one of my National videos last year. But he and I walked around the show, and there were times when he'd go, "Hey man, I'm going to go over here." I'm like, "Great, go." And I'd walk we'd hook up later. Same with Eric. Same with Mike, Hitman 23, whoever, it was just like, don't ever feel like you're having to, hang out with somebody just cause they understand why you're there too, or at least they should. And if you say, "Dude, I'm going to go walk some aisles some more," I'm going to be like, "Go man, knock yourself out. That's why you're here. We'll talk later." And, the show ends at 6. So from 6 to 6 a.m. you can hang out with your buddies and drink beer.
That's a good point.
Sorry.
I actually remember the video you're referring to where you had Andrew on there, and I think if I remember right, he had like some crazy Walter Johnson card that he had picked up.
A Ty Cobb.
Was it a Ty Cobb?
Yeah, I think so. His stuff is sick. I mean, it's just so awesome. And he's a great guy too. That's true again of everybody that I've really met and gotten to know. They're all amazing. So.
Oh, absolutely. Another thing I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, because you had mentioned this on your channel, because you had mentioned like the different auction houses that people can go to other than just eBay. So I was going to ask you, what are some of the auction houses that you personally use? And then like, what are some of the pros and cons of using these auction houses instead of eBay?
God, that's a great question. And I should do a better job of this on my channel explaining this. And you brought it up. So obviously it's something that people watching go, "Well, I don't know how to do that," and you probably know how to do it, but I was pulling up a resource here. Are you on Net54 at all?
Yes.
Okay. So on your computer, go to Net54 forums real quick. I'm going to show you something, and maybe you can put a link down below later. So if you go to Net54, it's net54baseball.com. Net and then the numbers 54baseball.com. And I'm telling everybody that, so if they want to go look. And if you go there and you look, like on their homepage is a whole bunch of the ads that they have are all auction house ads. But there's a cool resource that's hidden and people don't know about it usually. Over on the right, is a link called Old Cardboard.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So you click on Old Cardboard, it takes you to the Old Cardboard website, which is a really cool website. And it's got an auction show calendar. And I don't use it so much for the show calendar because I'm not going to Pennsylvania or, wherever the shows might be. But it has a list of all the auctions and when they're ending. Okay. Months and months out. So you can look and go ahead. Heritage is a huge one. And they're here in Dallas. Golden auctions with GOLDIN auctions. Small Traditions is a good one for just single card. They have stuff going every month. God, there's so many, man. Robert Edward Auctions is the big one, is a huge one. I keep all their catalogs up on my bookshelf because they're just great references. Memory Lane auctions, Mile High auctions, Love of the Game auctions.
What's the name of the one that Leon actually has? Doesn't he have one? Leon from Net54?
He does. He's running a show. I don't know which one. It might be, God, I'd be guessing. I don't know. But you're right. Leon does have one, and I just don't know what it is. I'm sorry, I don't know that. But the old cardboard, the show calendar, the auction calendar is a great resource if you just want to go check it out. The second part of your question of why auction houses, well, you're going to find the unique and different there. And so think about what these auction houses do. They go out and they buy collections or pick up these things that on consignment, and then they're trying to create a theme for their auction by having really kind of wow items, right? The Perez Steel stuff that I got the other day, where it was from Huggins and Scott, is the auction house used for that. And you don't see that stuff on eBay. And even if you do, remember, not everybody's looking at these auction houses. You can get really good deals. I got both of those items for $800 total out the door.
That's pretty amazing.
A lot of money, and it is. But there were 54 Hall of Famer autographs. So do the math. That's like $13, $14 an auto, right? And one of them was Joe DiMaggio, Mickey Mantle, Hank Aaron. Now, some people don't like the way that they're presented there in terms of they want them they want them a certain way for their collection. And I get that, but I can find something like that that's unique and special for my collection on a very cheap deal all day, man. And so the way it works is you'll buy an item for, let's say $100, just keep the math simple. And then they'll tack on a buyer's premium. Every auction house does. Hold on. Man, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
I'm through this, and I'm trying to do a good job. But $100, they'll add on an auction premium or buyer's premium, usually 20%-ish. So you have to keep that in mind when you're bidding on something that you're going to, if you really only want to spend $100, your 100 just turned into 120 plus shipping and handling and insurance and all the crap they throw on there. Your $100 item turned into a $140 item pretty quick. So just it's not that that doesn't keep you from bidding. You just got to keep that in mind as you're doing it. And you'll just find unique stuff that you can't find every day. And not everybody's looking at it. Now they will. No, just kidding. But I just cost myself a whole lot of money. No, because not everybody's looking for the same thing. But Blue Jacket 66, Dave, that's where he gets all his big high-end stuff, because you're just not fighting with the eBay masses, right? You're fighting with a couple of people. And that's good. If you're a buyer, a collector like me, I'd spend $1 for everything. I don't care. I'm not trying to spend money just cause. So I don't know. Did that answer your question? That was a long answer.
No, that was a good answer. And I'm glad that, because I've never, I've looked at a ton of these auction sites, but I've never actually registered for any of them. And I think that's good that you explained the way the buyer's premium works, because it's way different than eBay. Obviously, if you're an eBay seller, then you pay the fees. But in an auction house like that, it's actually the buyer that pays the premium.
What's cool is sometimes, I say this, a lot of times, if you pay with cash, i.e. a check and not PayPal or credit card, they'll actually knock 5 to 10% of that buyer's premium off. And all that means really is, because think about it, if they have to process your credit card or your PayPal, they're going to end up paying money, right, in a fee. So if they can avoid that, they're going to pass that savings on to you, the buyer, which is cool, because I don't care if I have to write a check and mail it and it takes a week longer to get my item back, but I saved several $100. Great, fine.
Yeah.
So some guys that a lot of them will allow you to pay with PayPal or credit card, but you can save some, not. And you need to just call them and ask them what they, or that when you get your invoice, it'll show it typically if you buy an item, how much they'll knock off if you pay with a check. So anyway, sorry, probably more than you cared to know. But.
Very cool, Mike. Dropping knowledge on everybody tonight. Nothing wrong with that. So getting back to the piece that you were just talking about, that kind of goes into this next thing here, like your Hall of Fame auto collection. how many Hall of Famers do you lack as far as like having an autograph of each guy?
Well, so there's two phases to that, or two sides of that. So there's how many unique Hall of Famers do I have, and then how many total, right? Unique, I have two. Hold on, I have it right here. I always have my spreadsheet. I have my giant, massive spreadsheet. I have 238 different Hall of Famers.
Wow.
But there are about 40. I need 44 more that are reasonable to get. There are about, I don't know, 30 or 40 guys that are just like I'll never own them. They either, it's so scarce that their stuff only exists like unicorns, or just so crazy expensive. I mean, like Christy Mathewson is on my reasonable list because there are Christy Mathewson autographs, but he's going to cost 10 grand, you know? And I got prices on things of people that I need. Oh, here, I got impossible to get. Let me tell you how many there are. There are, I can tell you right now because I have it pulled up. 43. There you go. I said 40, I guess. 43 that are just impossible. Like one guy is $19,000. I mean, just like these are recent auction hammer prices. So, nah.
Who is that?
That was Jack Chesbro, who was a
Okay.
old timey guy.
Yeah.
So that's but then total Hall of Famers, I just went over 2,000. I've got 2002 Hall of Famer autographs total in my collection. So you probably should be asking, who do I have the most of? And that's a really good question.
Who do you have the most of?
No, I don't. Let's see. Let's look. It's going to be pretty stupid, by the way. You're going to be like, why do you have that many? And my answer is, I don't know. Oh, God. I have 35 Duke Snyders. I have 98 Rodriguez's, but that's because I'm a Pudge guy. Wow. I have 30 Brooks Robinson autographs, 34 Al Kaline autographs, and then 31 Bobby Doors, but he's, pretty easy. And the way I accumulated all these was really through auction houses, like buying. Here's another cool thing about auction houses and why you can get stuff cheap is they'll do lots, like index card lots, and they'll have 65 Hall of Famers. And you really might only need one or two of them, but you buy the whole. I've done that so many times where I bought the whole lot because I needed two guys out of it or something. And I end up paying $5 an auto or something just stupid, and they go in the dark hole, and that's fine. But that happens a lot, which is how I accumulate, or the Perez Steels or the yellow Hall of Fame placards that get signed a lot. I'll buy lots of those on auction, all on auction house stuff. I don't do that on eBay really. eBay's more of a single thing, but auction houses love to pool their stuff into lots. But like the big guys, I don't have I have 7 Mickey Mantles, which again, compared to Brooks Robinson, I don't have that many, or I only have 1 Babe Ruth, but I do have 12 Hank Aaron's.
Now that just made me think of something. Is the 7 Mickey Mantles, is that symbolic?
No, it's just ironic. I hadn't thought about it.
That is very ironic.
That is ironic. I'll get 8, believe me. I'm not afraid to break that curse right there. And there's plenty of guys I only have 1 auto of because their stuff's just super crazy expensive. And I've been burned, man. I've bought fake stuff and gotten my butt handed to me, and you learn through those mistakes. People think, well, you can become an expert. You only become an expert once you've screwed up a lot, ironically. Which kind of blows, but that is what it is.
I mean, even we're seeing this right now with like PSA, SGC, and Beckett. I mean, they're even grading fake autos, and they are the experts.
Right. But that happens so little. I don't think that's a common thing for the most part. I think their stuff is pretty legit in terms of.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean it's just that there's going to be mistakes that happen here and there.
yeah, for sure. I
So
don't know.
who's the biggest guy out there that you would like to get? I mean, that's reasonable.
Um, I'd love to get Grover Cleveland Alexander.
Yeah.
He's a pitcher from the teens and 20s. I think that's going to be one of my national goals is to find and he usually signs GC Alexander. He's a toughie. That's depending $800 to $1,200 auto, something like that. He'd probably be my biggest one I'd like to get right now because I got the Walter Johnson. That was one of my goals this year. I already got it. So
yeah, that one's huge. And I think one of the things that people probably don't realize about some of these early Hall of Famers is, these guys, first off, they didn't sign as much back then, but a lot of these guys passed away like in their 30s. I mean,
well, think about this, okay? Anybody pre-Ruth, okay? Ruth started the whole autograph is an important thing idea because kids wanted Babe Ruth's autograph, and that became something that he would leave this indelible impression on them by giving them a signed ball or a signed scrap of paper or whatever. Before Ruth, that was not a deal really at all. It wasn't non-existent, but it was much less prevalent than it became post-Ruth era. And during Ruth's career, then autographs became a big deal. And even in the 50s and 60s, guys would send off, postcards. They're called GPCs, government postcards, to players, and they'd sign them and come back. I have a lot of my older Hall of Fame autographs are like that from guys who back in the day did TTM and just like we do it today. And they would send it either to the Hall of Fame directly, care of Jackie Robinson or whatever. And when Jackie Robinson came in town for the Hall of Fame induction, he would sign all his mail and they'd mail it all back. Or they'd send it to their old team, or there were different ways that TTM happened. It wasn't a whole lot of stuff direct to people's houses, but they did that some too. And so any of the guys pre-Ruth, you're going to find them usually on some type of document like a contract, or you're not going to just find them on a album page or something like that. It's just rare, at least playing days.
a lot of the older ones that I see, like it might be like a check or something like that even.
Yes, checks for sure were a big deal because everybody needed money back then, even still. So, yeah, good point.
So do you have any like player contracts or any kind of contracts or anything like that in your collection?
Correct. Hold on a second. My wife's vacuuming. Like, seriously, like Julie's vacuuming. And she just flushed the toilet. So that's even better. Like, man.
I can't even hear any of that stuff, so.
Good, because I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh. And I'm sweating too. Is that normal?
Well, when you have the flu, it is.
Yeah. I have only one contract, but it was because I needed two of the guys on it. So when the players would sign their contracts back in the day, I don't know how it is today, honestly, but back in let's say from 1910 to 1940, the player would sign it. Usually the general manager of the team would sign it, and then the league president and or the commissioner would sign it. And so some of these guys that are in the Hall of Fame as, executives or contributors to the game, that's some of the only places you can get their autograph is on player contracts. So I would buy the contract. I mean, my contract's for a guy with the Yankees. Actually, it's from the 1929 season, but it was a no-name Willie Rosar, I think is his name, or something. It doesn't matter. It wasn't, but I got it. It had two executives on it that I needed, so that's why I bought it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So explained, this will be something you can kind of explain, because anybody that's familiar with your channel, and obviously anybody that's watching my channel tonight, is going to know your channel. I mean, let's just do the math on that. But
yeah, I remember be some basketball guys that watch this that don't know my channel.
There could be. So explain to people exactly what the 3 decade set is that you're working on, and kind of what inspired you to do that.
Um, hey, hon, what's wrong?
Chasing our dog around.
Chasing our dog around. Oh, he had a pin. Oh, and he broke it. Great. Okay, sorry, Andy. 3 decade set was, simply put, there are PSA set registry, which is so addictive, right? I mean, it's like crack, man. And they have Hall of Famers, every Hall of Famer card for Topps. They have a set for the 60s. You can do the 60s, the 70s, or the 80s. And I said, well, I want to do all three, because that's the era that I consider kind of the golden age for me. I wasn't around then, but I started in 81, so collecting. And so I just always loved those cards. And I started buying a bunch of them anyway for the post-war rookie set or the top 300 cards by Mike Payne, and started just getting a bunch of them. And I'm like, and then I'd go see a 1982 Topps Mike Schmidt and be like, that's a cool card. And PSA 9 is $6, I'll buy it. Bam. And I started doing that more and more. I'm like, oh man, there's a whole decade. I could do the whole decade. I'm like, well, I want to do all 3 decades, not just one decade. And so I took all of them. And what's funny is PSA is not, the most accurate thing in the world. They like to be, and they don't intend not to be, but think of all the stuff they have to track. And so their 60s set, 70s set, 80s set for the Hall of Famers is missing bunches of cards. And so I didn't want just the base cards. I wanted, if a Hall of Famer is on a league leader card or an all-star card, or if they're a manager, or ironically, if they were a player that became a manager, like, who's a good example of that? Yogi Berra, right? So Yogi Berra was a Hall of Fame player, managed for the Mets and the Yankees and all that. Well, he has manager cards too. Well, hey, he's a Hall of Famer and he's on a Topps card, so that goes in the set. So there's a lot of that they don't include. So I created a master spreadsheet, and it is just, hold on, I got to get to it. So stupid. To track all this so that I know what I'm needing. And there are, oh God, it's big, 1,872 cards between.
That's it.
That's it. 1,800. I got 900 of them, thanks to my new one. You want to see my new card for the 3 decades?
Let's see this one.
I got this today, and Eric will be so proud of me.
Eric is going to love that. I don't know. Did you catch Eric's episode last night where Harold was actually absent from the show?
Did catch that. It was because he did O-Pee-Chee, he couldn't talk about. But I'm going to now have Harold sitting, but I believe I paid $55 for Harold Baines.
And that's an 8?
Yes, it's only an 8, and I paid $55.
Wow.
I could have bought that card for $7, 2 months ago. But nobody thought Harold, or whenever it wasn't just 2 months ago, but before they announced it, back in December. But so I'm not even halfway done with the 3 decade set, but it's just a fun project, kind of a long-term thing for me. I don't know, probably really stupid and crazy, but hey, if you're gonna buy cards, why not buy the best players that have ever played?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I always like. You always hear people talk about, buy what you like. I mean, it sounds like a cliche, but it makes total sense. I mean, right?
And I look, Juan Soto and Rafael, or not Devers, he's not as much of a prospect anymore. What do you got? Vlad Jr. and
Ronald Acuna.
Right, Acuna. Man, knock yourselves out. What you're going to pay for a gold auto, I can buy 2 Mickey Mantle autos. And I'm going to make that trade every day of the week and twice on Sunday. I'll never do that. I mean, to me, that's just what I like, and B, it makes much more long-term sense to they're going to be making Ronald Acuna cards for a while now, or they won't because he blows out a knee and ends up not amounting to anything. I mean, Jerome Walton, and he won the Rookie of the Year for the Cubs. You don't even know who I'm talking about, probably, Andy, but
I do. I'm a Cubs fan. I know Jerome Walton, Dwight Smith. Yeah.
yeah, they were great for about a season and a half, and then you'll get your percentage of being right on prospecting is so low that unless I can get it, if let's say you're a huge Mavericks fan, right? Like I am a huge Mavericks. You're a huge Thunder guy, and you collect Russell Westbrook, right? So, I think Luka is going to be awesome. I don't own any of his cards, but not because I wouldn't. I'm not going to go out and spend what they're asking. But if you did, I would get that because I'm a Mavericks fan. But I'm not going to go out and buy a Juan Soto, let's say, is a great example because he's a baseball guy. I'm thinking because I'm not a Nationals fan, and so if he was a Ranger, I might pick up a couple of his cards only because it fits in. But these guys that prospect, man, more power to you because I don't have the stomach for it. I just can't. I want to buy tried and true, man.
It's crazy, and we've talked about this on a couple of the episodes we've done. Like, and you brought up Vlad Jr. Like some of his like gold refractor autos, some of those are selling for like $10,000 right now.
I could buy a Christy Mathewson autograph for $10,000. Tell me, or I could buy 10 Cy Young autographs or 5 Ty Cobb autographs. Are you kidding? Is that even really like people contemplate that idea? Do they even understand what they're giving up to buy a Vlad Jr. autograph?
Well, I think the people that are paying $10,000 for a Vlad Jr. autograph, they don't know who Christy Mathewson is for one thing. That's part of the problem.
Well, that may be true. I hope if I do anything through my channel, it's try to let my passion for the history of the game and Hall of Fame and all this stuff spill over. And when I say, hey, go check out this player, XYZ player from a long time ago, when I show a 40 play ball card that I got, that they go, who the heck is that guy? I hope they go read and find out who the heck that guy is because, man, when I was a kid, that's all I did was learn and read, and I was captivated by it, and it was, to me, a blast. I loved learning about it. I guess kids today, I don't know, they may find it boring, but there are some guys that I think enjoy that. You got to respect it, though. Baseball has an amazing history.
Well, and you've mentioned this on your show before, and I mean, there's not a better series out there to watch than Baseball by Ken Burns.
Yes.
I mean, oh my gosh, so many great stories. I mean, stories that, I mean, they're just, I don't know, they're just so much better than the story. These guys were so much more interesting.
And when he does a big piece on Grover Cleveland Alexander, by the way, talking about the auto, and Christy Mathewson, Walter Johnson, all these guys. I mean, you go watch episodes 1, 2, and 3, and if you don't want to go learn about those guys, you weren't paying attention because you hear these things, you're going, oh my gosh. And I don't know, just, it was amazing. The history is just awesome. I love it. So
I think I watched that. I watched the entire series probably like the week before the National every year.
Okay. That's a smart time to do it. I do it usually in the dead of winter when there's no baseball.
Yeah.
Because it'll come on the MLB channel and I'll record them. And then poor Julie, she has to sit through it every year. She's like, didn't you just watch this? Well, honey, I did a year ago. Well, you've seen it. Why do you need to watch it again? But I swear, every time I watch it, I learn or something new sticks that hadn't before. And that's how you get knowledge, right? Is repetitive, just learning about stuff and hearing things. It doesn't usually stick the first time. Some things might, but it's how you learn all this stuff and learn how great some of these guys were.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just amazing stories on there. Like, I don't know, like there was just so many characters back then. I mean, just crazy stuff.
Yeah. So true.
So this is kind of like, this is sports related, but it's not really card related. You've mentioned before that you actually played baseball in college, right?
I did for a very brief time. Yes.
So what kind of player was Mike Baseball Collector?
Um, I was a catcher,
Okay.
and I had a really good arm and quick feet. I was much skinnier than I am now. I was 6'2" and about 175, soaking wet. So I was real skinny, and not much pop in my bat at all. I was kind of I hit 388 as a senior in high school, but I had 0 home runs. I mean, so it's not like, it was a lot of singles and doubles to the gap. And and then college was totally different, man. It's a job, dude. And it was just, I showed up and they're like, okay, we're going to have tryouts and all this. I'm like, tryouts? I've never tried out in my life. What are you talking about? And I played horrible my first season. I didn't even play a whole season. I played half a season, really. It was so terrible. It was miserable for me. And I was so immature. I was 18 years old, and I gave up, and it was so stupid. I wish I could go back and talk to that kid and say, hey, come on now, take your ego away and stop being such a dumbass. Because I was back then. We all were, I suppose, in different ways. But
Yeah, I think you're right there. So you were a contact hitter.
Definitely a contact hitter. But my twin brother, who I've had on videos, he was a pitcher, and he pitched at Vanderbilt. And I went to the Air Force Academy and was a catcher there. And so, but when we were in high school and stuff, man, we were a pretty amazing battery. He was a really, really good pitcher. He was the county player of the year, all state, unbelievable, and left-handed pitcher, nasty stuff. And I was his catcher. And so I hardly had to call signs, really. It's when your twin brother's throwing to you, it makes it easy.
Yeah, you guys just know.
It was fun.
All right, good stuff. So if you've watched any of our previous episodes, you know we like to do a random 5, right?
I do know this, yes.
Did you see Eric's last week?
I did, but I thought Michael started talking more, or did his random 5 too, didn't he?
Yeah, we did it for both. Yeah, I came up with the question and both of them did it.
Okay.
And
for many of his answers, I'm sorry, but
we did top 5 TV shows last week.
Okay.
So this week, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do TV theme songs.
Ooh.
So
okay.
I'm gonna play a TV theme song, and you're gonna tell me what show it goes to.
Okay. You're gonna date me, aren't you?
Well, maybe if you get it right. I don't know.
All right, let's do that. That sounds very fun.
All right,
okay.
let me get my list ready here.
Oh my gosh, what are you doing? All right, here we go.
Eric actually, one of his answers last week to the TV shows, he said Twib. So me and Michael are looking at each other like, Twib, what's that? And he's like, This Week in Baseball.
Yep. Dun, 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 dun. I could do that theme song.
Which, I mean, I knew This Week in Baseball. I just never heard it called Twib.
Yep.
Okay. Here is show number 1.
All right. I have no idea. Adam's fans.
You don't know that one?
No.
That one's Dexter.
Oh, see, I don't watch Dexter. That would be why I don't know that.
Okay.
No idea. Is it like Shaft or something? I don't know.
You're going to disappoint some people with that one, Mike. That one's The Sopranos.
Never watched Sopranos.
Really?
All right. So far, you're 0 for 2 on shows I've even seen.
Let me see if I can find one here for you.
Man, I don't know. Hold on. Oh my gosh. Oh gosh. Jeez. I can't believe it took me that long.
Baywatch. All right, 2 more here.
All right. From your top 5 shows or something? No idea.
You don't know that one?
Nope.
That one's MacGyver.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, I haven't watched MacGyver since 1985 or something.
Okay, 1 more here. Let's see.
Okay.
Let's see if you can get this one.
What am I, 1 for 4 so far? That's terrible.
1 for 4.
Stranger Things?
You got that one.
All right. I have watched Stranger Things. I love that show.
That's one of my favorite shows too. I love that show.
Good.
2 for 5. I mean, 400. That'll get you in the Hall of Fame.
See, I thought you were going to do stuff like Cheers or Seinfeld or
Those are too easy.
Family Ties or
I did have Family Ties on the list, but I didn't play it.
Knight Rider.
That was on there too. Yeah, I had to make it tough. Like I told Eric last week, there's no easy questions here. This is the hard stuff, man.
Yeah, you got me there on a few of those. Like, wow. Okay, nice.
All right, Mike. Do you have anything else you want to talk about tonight before we hop off here?
No, man. I love what you're doing on your channel and love this whole series. I think it's cool. I really appreciate you letting me come talk to you.
I appreciate it, man. Like we talked about this last week. Like with you and Eric coming on, that's a big ratings booster for us.
Jeez, come on. Probably not, but I will. I guess when I do some mail in the next few days, I'll try to tell people we did this. Hopefully, they come watch it and check it out.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, I appreciate you hopping on here tonight, sick and everything. You're a trooper, man.
Well, I want you to envision this. I'm about to go take a nice hot shower and get in bed with Julie, and after I take a shower.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm going to try to get some rest. So,
hey, that sounds good, my friend. All right, guys, that is all we have this week. Once again, thanks to Mike for being on here, being a trooper, and we will catch you guys next time.